This is group number 1 presenting before you our web development project, which is a news website. Our team is led by Vaishnavi Joshi and the members are Mayank, Dhruv and myself Samruddhi. Next slide. Yeah. So in this presentation, we are going to have a brief overview about designing and developing a website. The contents are beginning from the basic idea of website up to the final working web. Next slide. So commencing from idea of website, we will see what is a website. A website provides a quick and easy way of communicating information. The three main purposes of website are brand, product and information. They are typically dedicated to a particular topic. We had chosen to design and develop a news website. It is a medium accessed worldwide for exchanging information and insights about latest happenings. We do use languages like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for developing a website. Now, I hand over to Dhruv to continue the presentation.
Now, let us look at the flow of how we created this website from scratch. For our first step, we created a basic website with a simple skeleton layout. We added the heading of the website and made a few div elements where we would store the fetched news from the API. Once we were done with the basic layout, we started to look for APIs which we can use to fetch the news for our website. Once we got the suitable API, we used JavaScript to get the news. For this we use the fetch method in JavaScript. The fetch method is modern and versatile and is very well supported among the modern browsers. It can send network requests to the server and load new information whenever it's needed without reloading the browser. The data returned by the API is in the JavaScript object notation or JSON format and usually contains a lot of data in the form of key value pairs. From that, we selected the specific data required for our website. Since a website with only text would be boring, we added images related to the news as well for each news article. This image URL is also provided by the API itself. Now that we were done with the data fetching part, it was time to work on the design of the website and make it look good. So we used Bootstrap and Flexbox to align our content properly and display it in the form of cards. One card represents one article and there are two cards per row. After that, we worked on the header and the footer of the web page. We also created nav bars in the header as well as the footer to make navigating to specific portions of the website easier. Then we worked on choosing a color theme for the website. We experimented with a lot of colors and ended up going with a black and white theme because it looked more aesthetic than all the other combinations. Now that most of our website was ready, we worked on making the website responsive. Responsive web design is an approach to building a website that considers the different types of devices that a visitor might use to access the site. It adjusts how content on the page is displayed according to the dimensions of the device's screen. This is in direct contrast with non-responsive web design, which maintains the same properties regardless of what screen size is being used. Finally, we gave some finishing touches to the website, added categories of news, and then we were done with the project. All in all, it was a really interesting beginner project on web development, and we got to learn a lot of new things along the way. Plus, it was fun working together as a team. Now, I hand over to Mayank to continue the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Dhruv. So, as you know, as Dhruv was explaining the flow for making this news website, he mentioned getting the news articles through an API, or the word he used was to fetch the news articles from an API. So, what is an API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. In simple words, it is a way of application to interact with each other. So, suppose you are in KFC with your friends and you want to order something. You don't directly go to the cook in the kitchen and tell them your order, right? You look at the menu and your order is going to be some item from that menu. Let's say you order chicken wings, which was on the menu, and in no time you get served with those delicious chicken wings because it was on the menu. So the menu is acting as an API for the KFC kitchen. Similarly, our website needed latest news, so we went to a news API to get that news. We also wanted some weather data in particular region, so we went to an weather API to get that weather data. As you can see in this slide, there is a database. The client wants to access the data from the database, but it cannot directly interact with the database. So it interacts through an API. If the client is asking for valid data, the database will provide that valid data through the API. So some of we used for fetching the news, we used newsapi.org, which is a news API. And for fetching weather data, we used Open Weather Map. Now we are going to take a look at our website. Yes, so this is our website. You can see in the header part, there is the title, and there are three navigation links to the sections like national, sports, and international. And yes, so we can see that. And in also we have small little weather card, which is showing the weather in Pune region. So we can see the temperature, humidity, and pressure, which is fetched from the weather API. And you can also see the news card in which there is news headline, there is some content, and there is also small little read more button, which will be explained by Dhruv.
Now that we had the data we required, it was time to arrange the data properly in the form of cards. For that, we used Bootstrap and Flexbox. The image provided by the API was not of a fixed width and height. It varied for every new article. So we had to use CSS as well to style the image to occupy a fixed position of the card regardless of the size of the image. As explained during the presentation, there are 2 cards per row and a total of 2 rows per category. So our website displays 12 cards in all. Since displaying the whole news article in one card will take a lot of space, we just displayed a particular portion of the news and provided a read more button which will redirect to the news article. So if I press on this read more button, it will take me to the whole news article.
Yes, so as you can see in this last two news cards, the news is the same, because in the international section we have used the international news from US on, also from Australia. So the top headlines from both the countries was the same. So we get this two news card with same news. It will get updated after an hour. So if we go to the JSON file for the US region, so you can see the news which is from Engadget, and the same news is in Australia by Yahoo Entertainment. So that is why we are getting the same news in both the cards. It is a temporary thing. As the news gets updated, the cards will also get updated. Now Samruddhi will explain the footer.
Yeah, thank you, Mayank. So we have designed a responsive footer. It consists of navigation links similar to that of header. Also, contact details like email, the terms and conditions, and a section for advertisement details are present. We also have the social media handles like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. It also has a usual section of copyright. Now, Dhruv will demonstrate about responsiveness.
So now I'll show what responsiveness actually means in a website. I've opened the inspect tool, developer tools in Chrome. And this is how our website will look on a wide screen. Then as we keep on decreasing the screen width, after a particular width, the weather card disappears. This is because the screen cannot fit the weather card anymore, so we made its display to none. Then instead of showing two cards on one row, we change it to one card on one row. Again, as we keep on decreasing the width, our nav bar disappears and the website title comes to the middle. Then again, as we keep on decreasing, the cards will occupy the full width of the screen instead of giving any spacing. So this is because the screen size is very small, so we changed it. And now if we look at the footer, over here it is stacked. And as we keep on increasing, the footer also changes. So our whole website is made responsive. The whole code for our website is published on Coding Forum's GitHub repository and will be provided to you. So that was a presentation. Thank you. Now I hand over to the second group to continue.
Okay, thank you. That was nice. And we will continue with our program. Hello everyone, I am Ataru Kulkarni and our project is Weather Website. And Karan Gaikwad is our lead member who told us what to do and how to do. And Atharva Kulkarni, myself, Rishikesh Pandekar, and Aniket Thorat are our members, and we made this project. Let's go to our idea of the project. This the idea of the project to get the weather details of the city that we need, and when we go to the any city we need their weather for plans. If we go to any city and the raining is strong, then our plans get disturbed and we couldn't do our plan wise things. So we need their details, and we get the from our website we get the temperature, current weather situation, max temperature, minimum temperature, from which we can get the knowledge about what is the weather there and how could we do the things. Next is the tools and technology. For making the website, we need the tools and technology, for which we need React hooks, Node.js, and NPM. But let's look about what is the React. React is a free and open source front-end JavaScript library, and it is used for user interfaces, making user interfaces, and it is maintained by Facebook, and it is initially released by Facebook in 29 May 2013. And you can also give your knowledge and experience to React to make it performance better. And however, the React is only concerned with the state management and rendering that the state to the DOM. But what is the DOM? DOM is the object model. Let's get the example of DOM, that is HTML. We have the file, then we have their tag HTML, and then we have two parts there, head and body. Head contains titles, tag, meta tags, and etc. The body contains our whole these things, that how what is seen on the web page and etc. React can be used as a base in the development of single page or mobile applications also. And we need React hooks for our development. Hooks are the function that let developers hook into and React state and lifecycle feature from the function of components. That means we can use the hooks for to get the function details. Hooks do not work inside the classes. The classes that we learn in OOPS that are the same here also. They let you use React without classes. React provides a few built-in hooks like use state, use context, use reducer, use memo, and use effect. But the use state, use reducer, and use effect, which are the most used, are for controlling the state and side effects respectively. And the third thing, that is Node.js. Before the Node.js, the making website is very difficult task, because the JavaScript run on the V8 engine of the Chrome, but it only works on web server. So for writing the JavaScript, we have to go to server and then we have to write. We can't do at the just like Python and C, we can't do without server. But in 27 May 2009, Ryan made the Node.js, which is an open source cross-platform backend JavaScript runtime environment. That means you can run the JavaScript without using server. It helps us to use the JavaScript code outside a web browser. Node.js lets developer use JavaScript to write command line tools and for server-side scripting. Running script server-side to produce dynamic web page means the uh, reactive websites for the our web project. Content before the web page is sent to the user's web browser. You can change the things using Node.js. Next thing is npm. Npm means Node Package Manager. Is the default package manager for the JavaScript. Uh, with the Node.js, you can use the npm. It consists of a command line client, also called npm, and an online database of public and paid for private packages called the npm registry. The registry is accessed via the client, and the available packages can be browsed and searched via the npm websites. The package manager and the registry are managed by npm. Npm is just like the pip in the Python. You can use for the downloading packages. And next, the flowchart.
Hello everyone, good morning. Here is a flowchart of concept, or we can say that the process that we have. Firstly, we have decided our project topic in the group discussion. After deciding the topic, we started searching for project ideas and the templates available on the internet related to our project. So from that, we got a basic idea that how should our project look like and how should it work. So after selecting one of the template, we have moved to start our project building. As we are building our project in a React tab, so we have created the React tab. After creating the React tab, we started building front end. So firstly, we just have placed search box, buttons, and weather details related boxes at its position that we wanted to. Also, we have taken the reference of the selected website name. But in this, we have not added any styling or designing. For styling and designing the website, we have searched for the designing ideas and started testing a coloration that which color of text will be suitable for our website. And also, we have added a glass feature in our project. After designing the website, we are ready with our static website. Now only work remains is to make this static website dynamic. For that, we have used API, that is Application Programming Interface. There are very much APIs available on internet, but we have to choose API on our project needs. And our project need is to get the weather details from the city name. So we have chosen the API which is being called using the city name. So after choosing the API, we have fetched that API. And after fetching that API, we just have to call that API using the name of a city that user has entered in a search box. So after calling the API, we got the all data that we require. So now we just have to put that data into the correct fields. After doing this, we are ready with our project. Thank you. And now Aniket will continue.
Yes, so good morning everyone. So now let's have a look at what is an API and why they are used in web page designs. Nowadays, almost every website is based on APIs. So API is an application programming interface, which is software intermediary that allows us to talk with two or more different applications. It's basically software product which exchanges data and the functionalities via machine readable interfaces. So in simple words, like when every time when you use social media apps like Facebook, WhatsApp, or whenever you send an instant messages through any messaging app, or even when you check weather forecast on your phone or any other device, it's all because of the APIs that you are using in the website. So this is just a short meaning of APIs. So then how API works is like when you use an application or web app in your browser, the application or the website connects or it sends the request to the internet, and then from internet it sends it to the web server, and the server then fetches the required information from the database and interpret it in front of us. So the application then interprets the data and presents you in a readable format that you want. So this is what an API is in short, and all the this stuff happens via APIs only. So next. So these are the some links of weather APIs that you can use in your website, and you can easily access the data from their database. These all links are related to weather APIs only. Also, if you want to make like make project using some other APIs, then also you can go on site called rapidapi.com, and over there you can search for the other APIs that you want to work on. So the first API link which is given here is the one that we actually used in our web page design, which is open weather map. And below that I listed down some other APIs that also you can use. No matter which API you are using, still it's gives same result. So that's it. And now Atharva will show you the demo of the website.
Let's check out our website. Here is our design, and our site name is WeatherSite Pro, and we have given the icon here. And here we can search any city name, like we search Pune because our college is there. And here you can see the Pune. The sky is clear, and the current temperature is 26.37 degrees Celsius. And here we have created some buttons for quick search, like Pune, Kolkata, and London, and for Paris. As we know, the temperature can be vary from minimum temperature to maximum temperature, humidity, and wind speed. So we have given every details here, and the main details here that we require anytime. That is, and we can check by clicking Pune and Kolkata, London, and Paris. We can give many options here, but checking for every city by clicking is very disgusting to do. So we have given option to direct search. If you search without anything, it give nothing result. It remains as it is. That doesn't changes because you did not give anything. So thank you everyone for listening us, and that is our presentation.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
So, Anthrin, you can start.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone. We made a website on a restaurant, like we built it from scratch. And these are my teammates, Shreyash Chaple and Sujit Patil. And we were guided by Anish Bhaiya. So go to the next slide. So these are the technologies we use. So HTML, CSS for making the main structure of the website. And we also use some parts of JavaScript for image sliders. So you can go to the next slide. So these are table of contents. Like this is how we've structured our website according to which. So we have home, menu, about us part, and a review section. So you can go to the next slide. So now Shresh can take over.
Yes. So good morning, everyone. So we are going to talk about the what you can what you can include in your website if a client comes to you for making a restaurant website. So first of all, you should include the home page. What should you include in your home page? So first, we will talk about the we should include the ambience of the restaurant. So which will take the attention of the people. Sorry. So we have shown the ambience of our restaurant. Also, we have shown the what services we provide in our restaurant and on the homepage, like public events, pool parties, business events, barbecue parties, and nightclub and bar. So these are the services which we'll be providing in our restaurant. We included this in our homepage. Also, we added the contact details in the footer of the website. Now Sujit will continue.
Hello everyone. So we have created menu web page, which is actually very essential for a restaurant website. And in that menu web page, we have included starters, main course, dessert, and beverages. So we have included images and the various dishes. So Anfred will continue with the about us part.
So one of the main components of a website, so that the person who is visiting the website comes to know about the history and like what exactly is the website on. So like that's why we have made the about us section. So like we have included like a brief part in this PPT, like the history of our restaurant, like its year of origin, where was the branches opened, and where was it named as the best restaurant in the world. So you can go to the next slide. So like just giving a brief about the chefs and like who all take care of the restaurant. So like we included that too on our about us page. So you can go to the next slide. And like we also included a part where we showed our achievements or our accreditations. So like the 3 Michelin star or the best restaurant. So you can go to the next slide.
So this is now the review part. For the website, review page is must. So this will help the people to know about our services, how our services are, and also we in the website your review page you can add the memories of the customers, like the picture. You can add the pictures of the customers, how how they done party and all. So we added pictures of the customers in our review page, and also the reviews of the customers in our which is the main part of the review page. This will help people to know about our services. uh, so now thank you. We are open, we will have the question answer session at the end after the presentation of the website. So yeah, now let's go to the website. So this is our website, Oasis Restaurant. Now Ansfriend will explain you about the navbar and the footer of the website.
Okay, so the navbar we build using the Flexbox, either navbar and footer both. So you can see the menu about stories, which is so we used Flex and we did Flex End. So all that menu about stories have gone to the right. And what we have done is that on each of them we have given a link for the individual HTML and CSS pages. So like when clicking on a menu button will redirect us to the menu page, and clicking on the about will take us to the about us, and so on. So and the footer, if you go to the footer, this too was built using the Flexbox. And on like if you see on hovering a particular item, you can see that it raises like on the left hand side our services affiliate partners. If you click on it, it raises. So we have used parallel X and parallel Y properties to raise it. And the followers part we have used made buttons, and like we have we put hover properties on it. So that's that. And like yeah.
So now we will talk about the image slider part. This is I use this image slider part to show the ambience of the restaurant. So for this part, you can use this is the purely CSS part. I used the key frameworks in this image slider part. In the equal intervals of time, the image will change, and this will give us the idea about the ambience of the restaurant. So now Sujit will explain about the services part.
Okay, so in that event boxes, we have included various activities and events which are carried out in this restaurant. So we have built it with the help of display properties, and we also added hover effect. As you can see, whenever we hover over the box, it becomes gray. And we have not only included the hover property for the box, but also for no more part. As you can see, stress, can you please hover over no more? So the color changes. So like that we have included, and also we also included animation with the help of X and Y parallel. So now we have created multiple options, like for menu. Stress, can you please go for menu? So like we have created different page for every option. So this is the menu part. The header and footer is same for all the pages. And here is the image slider, which changes image every 4 seconds. It is built with the help of JavaScript. And you can also see the little dots, which are shows the number of images. Scroll. Shush, can you scroll? So okay, so this is our menu. So we have used background color for the menu title and also border. And then we have created these images and this menu dishes with the help of float property, float left and right. And it is also responsive whenever we do it. And as I said, the footer is same. Now Unspread will continue with the About Us web page.
Yes. So one of the main properties I used in the About Us was parallax. So if you could go down, you all could see that on sliding down, the image remains intact, but the properties inside the image hover. Like if you see, so it feels like it gives a beautiful feeling. Like it feels like the image is moving. So that's that. And like for using parallax, there's one simple property called fixed background. So on just putting that one line of parallax, that is background attachment fixed, it will show parallax. So you could go on the top. So I'll start like this is how I put a 100% background property to the image for this, then go down. Like I divided it into 3 parts, like the history of our restaurant, in which I wrote about his history. Then I wrote about the chefs in down, where I used the properties of grids, and I made 3 grid box. And I again, to give a nice effect, I used the property of parallel Y. So on hovering over it, it will raise it up slightly, so it looks good. And then this is the accreditation part, like how is it a great restaurant. So like I've written about that, and yeah, the header footer is same. So now Shesh can take over the stories.
So this is the review page of our restaurant website. So as I told you in the PPT part, we included the memories of the customers in the our review page, where we have shown the memories of the customers in the image slider part. This is the same part as I added in the home page, like image slider using the purely CSS, using the keyframe slider. This will image will change in the equal intervals of time. So this is the now these are the reviews of the customers. I put it some famous names in the reviews of the customer. For now, I used the flexbox in this review part, and for each row I added the 2 reviews. And if this is a responsive part, this is the responsive. As if I open the responsive part, this will come in the one line is the responsive, and the footer part is same for all page. So thank you. If we click on the image logo, we will come to home page. So now we are open to questions, if any. Then otherwise we will hand over to the next group. Also, I would like to thank the coding forum, and especially Shivam Verma, Aditi Nikam, and Anish Katare Bhaiya for helping us. This code is available on the coding forum GitHub. You can access there. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Hello, is the presentation screen visible? Yes.
Yeah. So very good morning, everyone. So our application's name is News Daily. As the name suggests, it's an Android news application led by Abholi, Shivam, and Nikhil. And it is presented by Akash, Nikhil, and Infa, that is me. So about our app. This app will provide you all the latest news at the moment and will always keep you updated. So it has 7 different news categories. As you can see in the screenshot of the app attached here attached here, at the top you will see the category buttons. Basically, we have added a horizontal scroll view of 7 buttons. If you click on any category button, you will get the news articles related to it below. And when you open the app, we have by default kept the general news category. So the app is very easy to use and is a useful application. It can be used on daily basis. So now I would like to hand over the presentation to Nikhil. He will explain the design of our app.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Next slide, please. So design view of app. So I will show you how we came up with the app. So as you see on middle, there is a the middle's Android screen shows us like this is how we came up to the app. Like when we open an app, this is how it shows. So there are buttons which you can scroll horizontally. Okay, and there is a search bar, and below it there is a headline, general headline news. So what happens when you click on the button? When you click on the button, it will show that category of news, like business. It will show business news, all that stuff. So and then what happened when you click on headline of a news? It will show you an image and then the body of the news, just like in a newspaper where you see a headline and there's an image and there's a body of the news. So yeah, the one thing that I want to explain is how we can store this news headline of news, like generally how we can scroll, how you can create the scroll option. So this is done by recycler view. So recycler view is a view group that contains the view corresponding to our data. So what happens is you have seen in most of that like Instagram, Twitter, you scroll it and the data is saved. How it is saved? It is saved, it is done by using recycler view. So what happens is it's like a cycle. So whenever you scroll at something, this data goes down, and whenever you scroll up, that data comes up. So this is how the data is stored. So yeah, this was all about it. So now I will request Akash to uh, go on.
Yes. Thank you, Nikhil. So in the News Daily app, we have used various tools and open source libraries. Tools like Android Studio, in which we have built our whole News Daily application in Java language, and we have used two open source library, that is Retrofit and Picasso. Retrofit is a TypeScript REST client for Android, Java, and Kotlin, developed by Square. The library provides a powerful framework for authenticating and interacting with APIs and sending network requests with OKHTTP. And second open source library was Picasso. Picasso is maintained by the same organization, Square, which is a image library for Android. It simplifies the process of displaying image from external location. In many cases, the few lines of codes required for uh, implementation of library. Now we will see about the API in next slide. Next. API is API stands for Application Programming Interface. API is an acronym from Application Programming Interface, which is a software intermediately that allows two applications to talk with each other. Each time you use an app like Facebook or check weather on your phone, you are using API. And now we will see about the working. Working is like when you use application on your mobile phone, the application connect to internet and send data to server. Server then retrieve that data, interpret it, and perform a necessary action and send it back to your phone. The application then interpret that data and present with you information that user needed. Next slide, please. Now we will see about the News API. News API is a website which provide a free API key to their user. There is no requirement of credit card or any type of amount you have to pay to them. It is absolutely free of cost for development, and uh, you have to just sign in their account, and they will provide you a free API key. Uh, News API provides news on various domains such as sports, entertainment, businesses, etc. From various countries. And to explore more about, you can visit to newsapi.org. Now, Omkar will show a demo of News Daily app.
Yes, now I will share the mobile screen and show you the app on mobile. Just a second. My mobile screen is visible, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So now I have opened the app. So by default, we have set here the general category news. So when I press the general button, you will see there is no change in the news articles. Now here you can see the news headlines, image and authors. So if I click on the news, so you can see the read the news in short. So all the details here are in short. And here is the horizontal scroll view of buttons. So we have 7 categories. So if I click on any button, suppose technology, so you will see the news related to all the related to technology. And we have also added a search bar. So if I want to search any keyword, suppose if I search Apple, so news related to Apple will appear in our recycler view. And we have also added a progress bar. So here you can see fetching news articles of Apple. That is called a progress bar. Here news related to business. So yes, that's it. So thank you everyone. We would also like to thank Coding Forum VIIT for giving us this opportunity to showcase our project in front of you. And we would also like to thank our mentors for this project, Shivam, Aditi and Aboli, for encouraging us throughout the project and for always helping and solving our doubts. Thank you.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, I will now share my screen. Yes, so my screen is visible. Okay.
So hello everyone. I am Devesh Shune, and this is our app known as InSync. Next slide, please. It is a college timetable app which updates itself in real time. It helps teachers and students connect properly, and it reduces the dependency of students and teachers on external applications like WhatsApp or services like email. It consists of two parts, admin and student part. The admin part has the option of adding and editing and also deleting the events, which will be reflected in the timetable of both teachers and students instantly. Over to Alok, who will explain the flow and design of the app.
Yeah, one thing about the tech stacks we use Kotlin for the back end and front end of the app. We designed the front end using XML, and we have used Firebase for user authentication and storing the schedule of teachers and students. Over to Alok.
Yeah, hello. So I will be explaining you, I will be demonstrating the app and explaining you some basics about how Android front end works. So basically, each and everything you see here, the InSync app, like the this is a text view. This basically everything in Android, every widget, every UI element is known as a view. So button, this button, edit text, text box, basically all these are views. So uh, and every Android project has two main components. One is the XML file. Everything you see here is designed using an XML file. So that the layout where we have to place the login button and everything, and corresponding functions related to these, let's say, buttons and text boxes, or in are in a Kotlin file or Java file, depending on which what you use for development. So basically now so for the purpose of this demonstration, we have created two accounts. One is the teacher account, one is the student account. So now, and I've already added a few lectures from the from the teacher account. So now I will log in as the student. So we have already created an account. So I'll just quickly log in and show you how the interface looks. Yeah, so login. So now you can't really see anything today because today is a Sunday, so there are no lectures as such today, so no timetable. But here we go on the schedule, and we can see the schedule of, let's say, Monday. Suppose I click on Monday, so here you can see the schedule of Monday. So here we have a lecture, computer organization and Java. So the thing is that the teacher adds these lectures and the students can see them here. So basically one unified place of storing all the details. So if I click here, I will be directly redirected to the corresponding link. If it is a Zoom link, I will be the Zoom app will open, and accordingly. And other features on the student side are, you have the accounts page where here is the class code. So the class code, the relevance of the class code is that the class code is the link which holds the, basically it's like a classroom, like where B division, C division, it's a class. So, and teachers add lectures according to the classroom. So it will be more clear when I log in from the teacher's end. So now I will log out. I will log in as a teacher. So this is our teacher's account. So yes, obviously today the set. So the thing is that both students and teachers get their own versions of timetable, because teacher has his or her own timetable, right? They have lectures in different classes. So accordingly, so now today the Sunday, so there are no lectures, no nothing. So but then, so what we will do is that we will create a new lecture, and then we will see the same lecture from the student side. I will create a new event, a lecture. So um, suppose electronics, just an example, electronics classroom code. So the classroom code basically defines for which class this lecture is, which class, like B division, C division. So for now we have made a class code SYC lecture link. Just for now I'll put a dummy link. I don't have anything to paste right now. So, and yeah, let's make it Friday. Just take random timings. I just take 11. Description could be in anything. You could put any description here. I could confirm and create a new lecture. A lecture added. So now I will go on the student side to see if the lecture has been added. Yeah, electronics. So this is how, in very simple terms, how our project works. The thing is that we could have included multiple teachers and students, but for the purpose of this presentation, it would have been very complex. This is the gist of our application. So the teachers can add lectures on their end, and students can see the lectures on their end and accordingly attend them. So this was the gist. I will now for further explanation of how the database actually works. Like you just saw, there is a class code, there is a student, there is a teacher. So how it exactly works in the background. So we have used a NoSQL database for this purpose. It will be explained properly by Abhinav. Oh, yes, also one small thing. This is the registration page. So while registering, you basically have these options. And while suppose if you're a student, you need to add the classroom code, and accordingly you can register. If you register, it will just redirect to the main timetable page only. So not a big deal. Oh, yes. So I will now hand over to Abhinav.
Okay, so for this particular project, so our main task was to how we can share the data across all the users which have their different types. So we can't show the data which is being shown to the student, to the teachers. So we have to isolate the data for different type of users. So so that's why either we have required a really great backend which is made of like Node or Django or Flask, any framework, or else we chose to go for the Firebase. So what is Firebase? Firebase is provided by Google. It's a NoSQL type database. It is stored in cloud. It provides services like authentication, then databases, real-time databases, hosting, machine learning, and many other things. From that, we had to just use the authentication and the Firebase database. So the first screen you can see is of authentication. So with Firebase, if you like, there are different methods with which you can actually log in. So they provide methods like login with Google, Facebook, or any other social media. But in this case, we particularly chose to go with a simple email and password authentication. So we sent our data or our email and password to the Firebase, and it generates a particular user, and it returns a really unique ID which can be used across all of our application, like all of our processors. And for that, like for including a Firebase to your project, you have to first register your app with Firebase. Then you have to download the key and paste it in the SRC folder. And then after, you have to add the dependencies for Firebase. Once this basic process has been done, you can actually use the Firebase and its different functionalities. Now, the next part, Alok, go to the next slide. So this is the Firebase console for the database. So actually we had to isolate the data for both students and teachers. So we created different collections. So if anyone knows what is NoSQL databases, so in NoSQL databases, there are like collections, and collection consists of different, like multiple documents. But in Firebase, the documents also can have collections in between. So in this case, we created 3 different collections. Alok, go to the next slide. So this is our database structure. So for this, we created 3 different collections. One, which is called as the user collection, which contains the basic information about user. So it also contains information like if that user is a student or it is a teacher. So if it's a student, then the data is being like some additional fields like classroom code are being stored there. Then we created 2 more databases. So one was a teachers collection, which only holds the data which can be seen by the teachers, and another database named as classroom details. So that was kind of public database which any user can access. Inside each and every, like the teacher collection, for an instance, if we consider teacher collection, there were different documents with the teacher's UID, and inside that we had the total information regarding the timetable. So using the Firebase, we actually removed the need for using a really good backend, as Firebase provides a really good backend, and we had to just structure our database in such a way that we isolate all of our data. And that's why you can see that for students, you can see a different screen, while for a teacher, there is a screen which has a button named as create event. So the main task in this particular project was how we can isolate everything, and at the same time, we can provide the same, like we can provide us there is a synchronous update between the different users. That's why also we named our app as InSync. So like whenever teacher updates from his side, the student side also gets updated at the same time. That was the advantage of Firebase. And yes, like Firebase is a really great backend if you want to use if you want to make really great projects. You should really go for Firebase if it is possible. So that was all from our side. Alok, you can go to the next slide.
Yes.
Bye. Okay, so thank you everyone. If you have any doubt or questions, you can also ask.
So yeah, great work by all the 5 groups and respective TY mentors. Everyone has presented it well and their efforts are clearly seen. So now thank you everyone for this, both SY and TY. And now I think both SY who are not in coding forum or who didn't took their part in this development event, right, in the development webinar, you can take the part in development battle. And of course CF members, for it is compulsory to take part in development battle. And other than that, I think SY members who are not in CF, they should also take the part in development battle, I think. So for that, basically this event was there.